We've had a hell of a couple of weeks, but I did get some exciting news this weekend. According to a new poll from YouGov, which is a serious polling site, or they were before this, I am more popular than the President of the United States. You remember the guy who keeps saying I have no ratings? Well, that makes two of us. They polled more than 1,000 people, and I lead Trump by 16 points. I'm at +3, he's at -13.
Please remember, I wrote about Osama bin Laden exactly 1 year ago, 1 year before he blew up the World Trade Center, and I said, you gotta watch Osama bin Laden. And the fake news would never let me get away with that statement unless it was true. But I said 1 year before to Pete Hegseth, I said 1 year before, where's Pete? In the book, I wrote, whatever the hell the title, I can't tell you. But I can tell you there's a page in there devoted to the fact that I saw somebody named Osama bin Laden, and I didn't like it.
Donald Trump says he wants his face on a coin. Jimmy Kimmel says he's more popular than the former president. But here's the twist. A YouGov poll actually agreed with Kimmel. But why did Trump respond by talking about Osama bin Laden and calling for the FCC to check NBC's license? This story isn't just politics. It's a comedy sketch writing itself in real time. So how does a late-night comedian end up being more popular than Trump himself? That's the kind of poll that makes you wonder if Americans are grading on a curve or just tired of political drama. The latest YouGov survey showed Jimmy Kimmel with a net favorability of +3, while Donald Trump sat way down at -13. Kimmel had about 44% of people saying they like him and 41% who don't. Trump, on the other hand, had 41% favorable and 54% unfavorable. It's not a big numerical gap, but for Trump, who treats every number like it's an Olympic medal count, that tiny lead was pure insult. On his show, Kimmel couldn't resist turning the poll into a roast. Laughing, he told his audience that, at this point, finding a toenail in your salad has a 7-point lead over Donald Trump. That line landed hard because it sounded exactly like something Trump himself might have tweeted about one of his rivals. Kimmel didn't just read the stats. He used them like ammunition, dragging Trump's endless obsession with ratings and crowd sizes. It was the kind of joke that sticks because it blends truth with punchline.
Is nice, but it feels like, considering the fact that I'm not a convicted felon friend of Jeffrey Epstein, and I've never paid off a porn star or sent a team of masked goons into a park to pull an old lady away from her grandchildren, I feel like my rating should be higher, maybe, than... At this point, finding a toenail in your salad has a 7-point lead over Donald Trump. And I hope he doesn't see this. I hate to, I don't like to upset him, but I think he might be upset because the White House put out a statement this afternoon.
Trump's team fired back in classic campaign mode. Through spokesperson Anna Kelly, they issued a statement bragging that over 77 million Americans showed up on Election Day to vote for Trump, trying to turn popularity into a math problem. Kelly went on to mock Kimmel's dipping TV ratings and called him a host who prays every night to garner a fraction of that support. The statement ended with that signature Trump flair, sad, which of course Kimmel loved. He read it on air and said that sad with an exclamation point would make a perfect t-shirt with Trump's face on it. The audience agreed. After returning from suspension, Kimmel leaned harder into this feud. He joked about how refreshing it felt to be more liked than someone accused of paying off a porn star and hanging around Jeffrey Epstein. He quipped that he'd never even considered sending a team of goons into a park to pull an old lady away from her grandkids, a dig aimed right at Trump's scandals and lawsuits. The laughs weren't just about shame. They were about power, showing how satire could flip a political image faster than any press release.
Real statement, over 77 million Americans showed up on Election Day to cast their ballots for President Donald J. Trump, who is delivering on his overwhelming mandate to put America first. Jimmy Kimmel prays every night to garner a fraction of that support to keep his show on air after ratings dropped 64% last week. Sad. I like sad with an exclamation point. It would make a nice t-shirt with Trump's face on it, wouldn't it? You know what else is sad? That the President of the United States has a lower approval rating than Diddy and diarrhea. That's what's sad. If he's looking, and no one cares very deeply about this sort of thing, If he's looking to improve his approval numbers, I have an idea. Release the Epstein files.
Trump's reaction showed how deep his need for approval runs. For him, politics has always looked like a beauty contest where applause counts as currency. He built towers to see his name in gold, not to host children's choirs. Kimmel jokes for laughs. Trump demands them like loyalty pledges. So while one man measures success in crowd giggles, the other treats polling data like oxygen. That little YouGov poll did more than compare two public figures. It revealed the insecurity under all the slogans and rallies. And instead of relaxing, Trump did what he usually does when embarrassed. He changed the subject entirely and dragged Osama bin Laden into the conversation. What do Osama bin Laden and Jimmy Kimmel have in common in Trump's mind? Absolutely nothing, yet somehow, they ended up in the same rant. After the poll drama blew up online, Trump switched topics mid-speech, claiming credit for warning the world about bin Laden before 9/11. He said, "Please remember, I wrote about Osama bin Laden exactly 1 year ago, 1 year before he blew up the World Trade Center. And I said, you've got to watch Osama bin Laden." Then, as he often does, he backtracked a little, mumbling something about not remembering the title of his own book, but insisting there was a page in there devoted to the fact that I saw somebody named Osama bin Laden, and I didn't like it. It was vintage Trump, part brag, part confusion, all self-promotion.
And you can read all about it in the book he wrote but can't remember the title of. Is he putting Tylenol in his McFlurries now? Everyone knew bin Laden was a dangerous terrorist in 2000. Are we to believe he was getting intelligence briefings on the set of his Pizza Hut commercials at that time? Meanwhile, a federal judge last night blocked Trump from sending the California National Guard into Oregon.
On Jimmy Kimmel Live, this became an instant comedy feast. Kimmel reminded viewers that everyone knew bin Laden was a dangerous terrorist in 2000, and then hit him with the punchline of the week. Are we to believe he was getting intelligence briefings on the set of his Pizza Hut commercials at that time? The crowd roared because the image of Trump sitting next to a pepperoni pizza while the CIA whispers national secrets in his ear is just pure lunacy. Instead of sounding like a genius, Trump once again sounded like that uncle who swears he warned everyone about Y2K right after buying extra batteries. The strange thing is, this was supposed to make Trump look smart. He told the story as proof of his foresight, but the internet turned it into a meme factory. Clips of the moment flooded social media, spliced with dramatic music and flashing subtitles like The Prophet of Mar-a-Lago. People joked that he probably also predicted the fall of Blockbuster and the invention of TikTok. He just forgot to write it down. Kimmel used this moment to talk about something deeper, the habit Trump has of shoving himself into history's big moments as if he's always the hero. Whether it's claiming to foresee bin Laden, inventing phrases like fake news, or saying he would have run into the school during a shooting, Trump always imagines himself in the starring role. Kimmel said he understands that urge, but suggested maybe Trump should start by predicting his own court dates. The late-night host then connected Trump's bin Laden brag to another one of his off-the-wall notions, the claim about Tylenol having something to do with autism. Kimmel said, "He goes from Osama to Tylenol faster than a toddler with an iPad." It was a perfect snapshot of how erratic Trump's thought process can appear, jumping from terrorists to over-the-counter medicine like it's all part of the same master plan. Underneath the laughter, though, Kimmel's routine showed how detached Trump has become from basic facts. His need for attention turns any topic into a weird episode of self-promotion. No matter what the event, he wants to be the main character, and that ego keeps creating prime material for comedians. Kimmel's mockery spread faster than Trump's claim itself, proving again that a sharp joke cuts deeper than self-declared genius. Still, if the bin Laden rant seemed ridiculous, it was just the warm-up act for what came next. Trump imagining his face printed on actual money.
Only Donald Trump would shut down the government and say, "Hey, let's mint some money with my big fat head on it." The White House press secretary, Carolyn Leavitt, with a straight face said she doesn't know if Trump is aware of this movement to put his face on a dollar coin. I'm sure he has no idea about this idea. That was definitely his idea. If this happens, this coin would be a symbol of Trump's dominance over all branches of government and also a major choking hazard for Eric.
What happens when a man wants his face on money but can't even get a park named after him in his hometown? That's the ongoing Trump irony. The man once compared to gold now can't even get grass to agree with him. The buzz about Trump floating an idea for a new coin started with his typical flair. He supposedly described it as a very beautiful coin, one side reading, "In God we trust," and the other, in classic caps lock energy, "Fight, fight, fight." Subtlety has never been his strong suit. The vision felt like something you'd buy from a late-night infomercial, the host promising it'll be worth millions one day if civilization collapses.
The Treasury Department is talking about putting Trump on money now. This is the coin they are proposing to mint. Tails says, "Fight, fight, fight." This is heads, "In God we trust." Although I think it's missing a question mark. It should be "In God we trust."
But while Trump talked about coins, back in Jamaica, Queens, the neighborhood he grew up in, people decided to play a different kind of joke. Locals pulled a prank about renaming a park after him, just to see how the community would react. The answer came quick and loud. Absolutely not. One resident said, "Absolutely not. Number." No another person, asked what they'd do if a Trump sign ever went up, didn't hold back. "I would beat the hell out of him." That's not exactly the hometown hero reception politicians dream about. The whole thing turned into a street-level referendum on what people really thought of him, right there where he built his empire's origin story. The contrast couldn't be more awkward. On one side, Trump imagining his head stamped on a shiny coin that people hand each other with reverence. On the other, Jamaica, Queens locals swearing they wouldn't even let him name a swing set. The symbolism writes itself. From the Oval Office to a park bench, his image doesn't bring unity. It brings arguments. Even his birthplace wants a refund on the franchise. Residents weren't just rejecting a sign, they were rejecting the brand itself, the constant self-promotion and need to plaster a last name on everything.
Trump's putting his name on so much stuff. We thought we would have some fun with that while we were in New York last week. So we went to a park in Jamaica, Queens, very close to where the president grew up, and told the folks hanging out at the park that Trump was planning to rename it in his honor. And this is what the locals in Queens had to say about that.
Are you proud to live in the neighborhood where Donald Trump grew up?
Not really.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with Councilman Harry Paratestes, but he was proposing to rededicate this park to Trump. I was wondering what you think about that.
No.
Oh, absolutely not.
No?
No.
Their anger also says something bigger about America's endless fight over symbols. Statues, street names, coins, they've all turned into political battlegrounds. For Trump, those symbols mean legacy and dominance. For the people in Queens, they represented ego and intrusion. Many locals said the idea felt disgusting, as though their neighborhood was being used as another stage prop for political theater. These clashes show how one person's pride can be another's protest. Trump's obsession with polls, coins, and park signs isn't about leadership, it's about reflection. He doesn't want to shape the world, he wants to see his own face on it. Every symbol becomes a mirror, showing him the approval he craves. Kimmel, in his own way, does the same thing but through laughter, not marble. Both comedy and politics fight over who controls the story people believe. So laugh, but also look closer. When presidents start chasing trophies and comedians win the ratings race, maybe the last honest vote doesn't happen in a booth. It happens in a punchline.